Ref app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Oh, yeah, there will be football played in Norman, America tomorrow. The Sooners return to their home field for the first time in 4 weeks to host Missouri. Fresh off road victories against Tennessee and Alabama with a bye week sandwiched in between. Oklahoma controls its own destiny in the race for the college football playoff, and real curveball here in the last hour or so. It turns out Oklahoma's going to face Missouri starter Bo Pribula, set to return from a dislocated ankle that he suffered just 3 weeks ago, instead of doing battle with true freshman Matt Zollers, who had started the last 2 games for the Tigers in relief of Pribula. And we will talk about the game moving forward as we roll along here on a Friday here on Locked In. Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton. I am out here at OEC Fiber, right off of Main Street here in Norman. Fantastic headquarters, fantastic people here at OEC. Obviously, we caught up with David Goodspeed earlier. OEC Fiber folks, if you don't rely on them for your internet connection, you ought to, because it is the absolute fastest and most reliable internet you're going to be able to procure if you're living in the OKC metro area. On the text line, if you'd like to chime in throughout the show, please do so. 405-651-3439. That is 651-3439. First things first, though, Grayson, as we start to look at the happenings this weekend from a recruiting standpoint. The Sooners have one official visitor coming to town in Dane Bathurst, the 3-star edge rusher from Carmel, Indiana, whom Oklahoma is somewhat counterintuitively recruiting as an off-ball linebacker. Very unique pitch that the Sooners are going to be making to Bathurst, but he'll be at Oklahoma this weekend. Next weekend, he will head to Nebraska for an OV. Vanderbilt, Purdue also in the mix, but the thought is that this battle is going to come down to the Sooners, the Huskers, and the Commodores. It is, in my estimation, a 3-team race. So for a guy like Bathurst, Grayson, who reopened his recruitment last week, decommitting from Duke, 6'4", 230 pounds. If you are the staff at the University of Oklahoma this weekend, what is the message that you're trying to drive home with Bathurst as you push for another late addition to the 2026 cycle?
How I'm going to use you. What is my plan for you? Because you're coming to a kid who's been playing edge rusher in high school. He committed to his previous institution, Duke, as an edge rusher, and now you're trying to get him on board as an off-ball linebacker. So it's a position that's going to be a little bit new. He doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of tape at that position, but he has traits that could translate to that position. So in a much more crunched timeline, where you are about a week and a half, per se, away from signing day, this isn't about trying to get some deeply entrenched relationships or anything like that. The time for that is past. What you need to do is sell me immediately on how am I going to translate to this position, how am I going to fit into the scheme, and how are you going to develop me, and why this is the best place for me. Because I got to make up my mind in 11 days. So from that standpoint, I think that's what you have to focus on, is trying to convince the kid and trying to put together your most detailed pitch as to how I'm going to be better at this position. That's what I would focus on.
I like that answer. I like it a lot. And for Oklahoma, I don't know that this is something you can count on, But you'll be looking to do the exact same thing that you did last month with Jasir Rogers, the 4-star wideout from the state of Delaware. He was supposed to OV to Alabama, to Indiana, and I do believe to Nebraska as well, in addition to Oklahoma. But the Sooners got the first shot at him, and they convinced him to shut it down. He canceled all of his subsequent official visits, committed to Oklahoma immediately following his OV, and that was that. He will sign with Oklahoma in just under 2 weeks. And so if you can replicate the same success that you had with Rodgers, and it's very much within this staff's capability to do so, then great. Maybe you don't even have to worry about the trip to Nebraska that's coming up for Bathurst right before signing day. But the big thing is you're going to want to be able to make an impression that stands, an impression that lasts, an impression that will be and can be sustained through Bathurst's trip to Lincoln next week, because Nebraska is a program that can be a formidable foe on the recruiting trail. Obviously, they are not the football powerhouse that they once were, Grayson, but I mean, we can go on down the list of the recruiting battles that Oklahoma has fought with Nebraska in recent years. The Huskers have won a lot of them. From Christian Jones to Grant Bricks to Cortez Mills, whom they flipped on signing day last year from Oklahoma. The Huskers have kind of been a thorn in Oklahoma's side. So the Sooners, no doubt, the Sooner staff will have a little bit of extra motivation to get this one done because of the opponent that looms next week, that being the recruiting opponent that is Nebraska, as opposed to the literal on-field opponent that is LSU. And that could be all that stands between Oklahoma and a college football playoff berth and hosting a first-round matchup at this point. Now, there are several other 2026 visitors due on campus tomorrow that are uncommitted. One that's particularly interesting, and we talked yesterday at length about Markel Ford, the 3-star safety that's committed to SMU, but is checking out Oklahoma this weekend, and to my understanding, the Sooners do intend to make a push to flip him from the Mustangs. He has a teammate, though, that we talked about a little bit, in 3-star offensive lineman Kole Seaton. 6'5", 280 pounds, currently committed to Baylor, the number 65 offensive tackle prospect in the nation, according to the Rivals industry rankings. And Grayson, let's dig in here for our Friday film study, and let's focus on Kole Seaton. When you watch the tape, and of course we don't know at this point whether or not Seaton is going to pick up the offer this weekend as Oklahoma makes an effort to expand its 2026 class on the offensive line. But as you watch the tape, as you watch what is there on film for Kole Seaton, does this look like an OU caliber offensive lineman to you?
Possibly. Possibly he does. I think as of right now he does not. But he's got a really good starting point. He certainly is a power 4 offensive lineman. Don't get me wrong. This is not OU going down to somebody who should be playing at the G5. Okay, so don't get misconstrued there. But I do see a lot of really good things. I see good feet, I see a good base, and I see, some good basic techniques with him. And there are a lot of good things. I think he flows well as an offensive lineman for the RPO game. I do think he could exceed there. Here's my only concern with Kole Seaton that I saw on tape, because he's got good hands, he's got good strength, he's about 285, so we'll check mark there. And he's very nimble, too. My only concern is that on tape, he tends to reach outside the framework of the defender's body, which leaves you susceptible to holding penalties. I saw a couple on tape that, if that defender had made one move one particular way, that could have been in position for a hold. So I think he's a little bit handsy. He's a little bit too grabby at times. But I do think he is a P4 prospect. I think with development, he could be a good player in the SEC. But right now, I can see where the 3-star label comes from, but there's upside with this kid.
I'll tell you what I see when I watch the tape. And when you're 6'5", 280 at the high school level, you're going to be playing offensive tackle more often than not, unless you're on an offensive line that's just chock full of P4 studs like a Prosper down in Texas, for instance, that I believe has 4 P4 commits on their offensive line right now. But when you're 6'5", 280, naturally you're going to get shoehorned into playing tackle at the high school level. When I watch Kole Seaton I see a guy that more ideally projects to the interior. I think this is a guard. And I do think he could be an OU caliber guard because he's got the punch, he's got the strength. There's a lot on tape to like about what he brings to the table, but my biggest apprehensions with Kole Seaton are I don't think he has the quickness and I don't think he has the flexibility to play tackle for Oklahoma.
I can agree with that.
I think he could be one heck of a guard, though. And I think that's probably what Oklahoma sees and is going to be weighing is, do we take this cat as an interior offensive lineman? Now, I don't think it's much of a question when you look at him versus Noah Abibi, the other interior lineman, or the interior projection that Oklahoma is pushing for here late, who's currently committed to Tulane. Abibi's the higher ceiling player just because of that athleticism. And it is special athleticism. He's got a 4-sport background: football, basketball, soccer, and track. So I think Abibi's the higher ceiling option, but obviously Seaton, having played offensive line for much longer than Abibi has, he's a newcomer to the position. This was his first year playing offensive line. Probably a guy that is going to be able to get his feet underneath him at Oklahoma a little bit sooner. And physically, again, when you're talking about 6'5", a guy that by the time fall camp rolls around, were he to enroll at Oklahoma, he would assuredly be north of 300 pounds. This is somebody that I believe could play guard at a high level one day for Oklahoma. I don't think he's a tackle, but I think he could be a guard. And so that'll no doubt be the big topic of discussion in the Oklahoma offices as they try to come to a decision as to whether they're going to offer Seaton. Do we prefer him over Noah Abibi to the point where we're comfortable offering him this weekend? Do we either think he's better than Abibi, or we're sold enough on him that we're willing to just extend the offer and be content with taking whoever makes the move first between him and Abibi? Because as we talked about yesterday, Grayson, the thing that kind of hangs in the balance with Abibi is what's going to happen with John Summerall. Does he wind up at Auburn? Does he maybe wind up at Ole Miss? If so, is Abibi one of the guys that he tries to take with him from Tulane's 2026 recruiting class to either Auburn or Ole Miss? You would certainly think so. There are a couple of guys in Tulane's class, namely Trez Davis, wide receiver from the boot, in addition to Jordan Kreitz, 4-star defensive lineman from the Houston area, and Abibi. Those three, to me, those are surefire dudes that you're trying to move with you wherever you go if you're in John Summerall's shoes right now. We'll see what happens with the outcome of that whole process and the coaching carousel. It feels like everybody's kind of waiting for the Lane Kiffin domino to fall before moves elsewhere start getting made in earnest. But John Summerall could very well be the head coach at a different school in the next 10 days. And you'll have to be mindful of the movement that could occur within Tulane's class and a late push to bring a guy like Abibi along with him. So does Seaton get the offer this weekend? I would lean towards no. I think that's kind of just like you make every effort to ensure that kid is comfortable on campus this weekend and feels good about the situation at Oklahoma, so then you can keep him in your back pocket as this thing gets close to signing day. Kind of along the lines of a Jet New last year. He never visited campus, but the OU staff and Brent Venables, they were reaching out to him a couple weeks before signing day just to make sure, like, hey, if we threw you an offer as we got closer here, would you have interest in making the move? He was down for it, obviously flipped from Oklahoma State on signing day less than 24 hours after receiving that offer. So I think it could be something similar with Kole Seaton where we maybe don't find out until 48 to 72 hours before early signing day whether or not Oklahoma's going to pull the trigger. But then if they do, I think things could and would move quickly between OU and Seaton.
And that'll be interesting, too, because I guess in my analysis of it, I basically said, sounds like a guard to me. And I'll tell you one thing else about him potentially at guard. When you're playing kind of in a phone booth there, because a lot of where the handsy stuff happens is when he's blocking out in space. right? So if you're playing more in a phone booth, that can mitigate that to some degree. Also, I will say this. He fires off the ball very nicely.
You love to see that.
So if you're talking about an interior push from the interior 3 on a running play, I think that's where something like that would certainly be a plus for him. So, yeah, I can definitely see guard with him. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Oklahoma decides to pull the trigger on him, because he would be a developmental project, but he would be a very intriguing one to have on board.
405-651-3439 is the text line if you want to make your voice heard. One-star Chonky Chuck on the text line says, Handsy and Grabby was my nickname in high school. Chonky Chuck, I'm going to hope that was only your nickname on the football field.
Yeah.
Sooner Mailman asks, can you give your thoughts on the 2027 prospect? He's already north of 300 pounds at defensive tackle. His name eludes me. I do not know offhand who you're talking about, Sooner Mailman. That could be a multiplicity of different guys. I would think you're referring to Elijah Harmon. If that is correct, let us know. But if not, see if you can come up with some clarity on which prospect you have in mind, and I'll be happy to discuss him. But we need to hit a quick opening timeout here on Locked In. Hear from some of our sponsors that make it all possible. I'm out here at OEC Fiber. Keep firing away on the text line. Much more ahead here on this Friday. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Oklahoma.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Hey, it's Dari Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch, and Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army, just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
This is Peggy Doviak of DM Wealth Management. Your financial life is very similar to the offense in a game of football. First, to create the game plan, you need to know how much you spend. Then, you need to put together a portfolio that helps you meet your goals and matches your risk tolerance level. And finally, you need to save for your retirement through your company's plan or an IRA. Let us help you plan your prosperity. Check us out at dmwealth.com.
Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman at 405-310-3189. Let them prepare your party. You'll be the favorite guest when you bring a Chick-fil-A nugget tray, sandwiches, or a mac and cheese tray. It'll be their pleasure to serve you, whether dining in, carrying out, catering, or delivering delightfulness to your front door. Box meals to nugget trays to gallons of lemonade and tea. They have plenty to offer for your next class party, team celebration, or family gathering. You'll be the big-time guest when you bring Chick-fil-A. Call 405-310-3189. And remember, eat more chicken.
Sooner fans, you know a great comeback when you see one. This holiday season, experience the ultimate redemption story with Scrooge the Musical, live at the Sooner Theater in Norman. It's got heart, laughs, and more spirit than an SEC fourth quarter. Watch Ebenezer Scrooge turn his game around and score big for Christmas cheer. Don't get benched. Grab your seats now at SoonerTheater.org. Scrooge the Musical, December 12th through the 21st, the home field advantage for your holiday season.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it making more money. Spend it making more memories. Spend it learning a new skill. Spend it teaching an old trick. Spend it career climbing. Spend it mountain climbing. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Somebody hit the text line at 405-651-3439 and asked, is Dabo to Arkansas a real thing? Sir, you got. This happens all too often these days on social media because social media is filled with so much detritus and so many burners trying to fool people. It can be difficult, I know. It can be very difficult to distinguish fact from fiction at first glance sometimes. But my best advice would be, you see a tweet that resembles news, click the profile of the individual tweeting it and verify via their handle, their bio, their follower count that they are credible and can be trusted.
Affiliation.
Yes. Also, to emphasize, I know I have said this many times before, people, get off Facebook. Facebook has become completely overrun with total slop and AI-generated headlines and stories that just have absolutely no basis in reality. And unfortunately, like we know what the primary Facebook demographic is, right? It's older folks who might not be as tech-savvy and might not be as experienced in distinguishing between what is real and what is fake. If you're chronically online, I would think that at this point you've become pretty good at distinguishing a real tweet or a real headline from a fake tweet or a fake headline. Such is not the case for many of the folks that reside on Facebook.com here in the year of our Lord 2025. So you got with the Dabo to Arkansas thing. No, that is not real. I don't know what Clemson and Dabo Swinney are going to do because it's become increasingly apparent that Dabo just really isn't going to budge on his principles. For instance, he said the other day, and I can admire this from a human standpoint, he said he's never going to push players to the transfer portal. He's never going to engage in the common practice of, quote-unquote, processing, Grayson. But again, with where the college football landscape is here in 2025, it's yet another one of those Dabo machinations that I'm not really sure whether it's sustainable.
I mean, just look
in fact, I'm quite sure it's not sustainable.
No, it's not, especially when you've got to pay as much money as you do for a roster. You need to make sure that you are most efficiently allocating those resources, and if that means that you need to part ways with some people who probably need to be playing at another level or just need a change of scenery, you got to do that now that the financials are a factor in all of this now, because otherwise you've got don't take this literally, but figuratively here, dead money lying around. Similar in a way to, Oklahoma with Jay Knott. Right, so you're going to have to engage in some of that if you're going to make sure that your dollars that you're allocating to a roster are being best utilized on the football field.
Tim from Nebraska on the text line says, fake book is a cesspool. Amen. Tommy on the text line says, get off Twitter. I'm not going to fight you on that. I do spend a lot of time on Twitter because I have to. It's part of the job. But trust me, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't spend any time on Twitter.com. 918 listener says, hey, I'm on Facebook, and I'm an engineer. Many of us older individuals have had the internet most of our lives. Can't disagree on the content, though. Hey, you know what? Good on you, sir. And if you are an engineer, I would trust that you are one of the people that is well equipped to spot and combat all of the atrocity that gets posted by AI bots, on Facebook.com. But, unfortunately, we cannot say the same for many of the Facebook population. S. Rob Booman says, just don't tell us that TikTok is a better alternative. Never would. I have never had TikTok at any point in my life, and I never will. Moving right along, this was maybe the most shocking news of the day, Grayson. I think this was even more shocking than the news that Bo Pribula, is going to start tomorrow for Missouri. I'm sure you saw this as well. Baylor is retaining Dave Aranda?
Yeah.
What? They're going to run this back for year 7?
Shoot,
this
man.
is, and I understand that they are dealing with a tempest right now, given the situation with their now former athletic director, Mack Rhoades. It would seem that there is a lot more there than meets the eye. I don't claim to know all of the gory details of whatever went on there that led to that separation, but I think it's pretty evident that played heavily into the decision to bring Aranda back for year 7. Here's what I can tell you, though, and here's why this move is so shocking. Like, yes, you have to hire a new athletic director before you can hire a new head football coach. I fully understand that. But no one cares about Baylor football right now.
No.
They cannot come anywhere close to filling that stadium because that program is mired in total mediocrity.
Yep.
And has been for years and years and years. And that is the worst place to be. That is the worst place to be.
Yeah. 100%.
There's no worse place you can be as a football program than stuck in 6-7 win territory, because that is where people start to lose interest. I mean, if you're atrocious, at least then it becomes evident and blatantly obvious to everyone that a change needs to be made, and that change is often made expeditiously. And then if you're winning, you sell out games, fans show up, create a home field advantage, and everything kind of takes care of itself. There's really no redemption to be found when you are stuck in the desert of 6 wins, 7 wins, maybe 8 wins year in and year out. And that's been reflected thus far this season in the crowds and the level of public interest in Baylor home games.
Yeah, no, my colleague at Locked On, who hosts the Baylor channel, is in the exact same boat. And to quote him directly in one of his shows this week, he asked the question, when is it going to be fun again? And then to me, like, that perfectly encapsulates what Baylor's going through right now, is that the worst place to put your fan base, there's 3 options you can be. You can be either really good and everybody loves you. You can be really bad and everybody hates and despises the product. That is better. The second option that I just gave is better, than everybody being indifferent. And that's what Baylor has its fan base in right now. They're just like, it's there. We know it's not good enough, but it's not horrible. But in terms of why you bring Dave Aranda back, though, is that even though you are stuck in this situation of mediocrity right now and you're basically stuck in neutral, if you don't have the leadership and the infrastructure to make a change, you could very well make the situation worse. So, go ahead.
Who's doing Locked On Baylor these days? Is it still Cam Stewart?
It is Cam Stewart, yes.
I love that guy.
Yes, I do, as do I. As do I.
He stayed at my house before the OU Baylor game in 2022.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you guys knew each other.
Oh, yeah, we know each other.
Okay.
Have for years.
Okay, yes.
Good guy.
Yes, so he was the one that I quoted just now. By the way, yeah, great dude. Been great to me ever since I joined. But if you don't have the leadership in place to make a change and facilitate the new hiring of a new guy, at that point, probably stay with where you're at, because you do run a huge risk of making everything worse if you have the wrong person or set of people, or no person and no set of people, and it's just a random, cabal of just people who should not be there making decisions. So I kind of, just given the context of this, I kind of agree with sticking with Aranda for one more year.
By the way, I said you don't want to be stuck in the territory of winning 6, 7, 8 games on.
Moving on.
Everybody immediately. Everybody on the text line was like 6, 7. There's nothing dumber. There's nothing dumber that has taken root in society today than the whole 6-7 phenomenon, because it doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
It is peak brain rot culture. It infuriates me.
Hey, so
maybe that's an old take. I don't know.
So I mean, it definitely is. But you said the move to bring Aranda back was more surprising to you than Beau Pribula, or Pribula, however we're pronouncing his name, starting. To me, Pribula starting was more surprising to me because, look, you don't want to put this dude on the field if you're Mizzou if he cannot protect himself. And the surprising part to me is that, and look, I think Eli Drinkowitz is a good coach. I think he's a quality coach, and I do not think he would put him back out there if he didn't believe he couldn't protect himself against this defense. So the surprise to me in that is he really in a position where if he needs to scramble, he'll be able to do so? Is he in a position to where if he has to avoid taking a big hit, he can do so? Because to me, with them announcing that he's going to start on Friday afternoon when they did, they must have seen enough to say, all right, this dude can get himself out of danger and not be back there waiting to get himself killed. And that, to me, surprises me.
Yes, it's very surprising. Very surprising. To return from a dislocated ankle in just 3 weeks, I mean, blown the recovery timetable out of the water. Now, I think this sets up pretty nicely for Oklahoma, though, because you can't expect that he's going to be 100%. You can't expect that he's going to be everything that he was when he was in peak form earlier this season, and he was capable of playing some pretty dang good ball. Mm-hmm. He's a mobile guy. He can throw. You have to wonder if Penn State had kicked Drew Aller to the curb and just rolled with Pribula this past season, whether James Franklin might still be employed by the Nittany Lions. But
I still don't realize how Drew Aller hoodwinked everybody into thinking he was good.
I know, man. But Pribula lands at Missouri. He's played some good ball this season, pre-injury. He's proven that he can make plays through the air. He can make plays on the ground. The mobility and the level of inhibition that he succumbs to as far as the mobility aspect of things is concerned, that's going to be the most intriguing thing to watch. It's not even really about protecting yourself in my mind, because I don't really expect that they're going to be like running Beau Pribula between the tackles or putting him in any sort of situation where he's tasked with protecting himself, just because of how athletic and how hard-hitting and how vicious this Oklahoma defense is. But there will come a time, obviously, at a certain point, probably pretty early on, there will come plenty of instances in which Beau Pribula has to get outside the pocket because it's breaking down, because that rush is coming, and he's got to make something happen on the run, or he's got to tuck it and try for a first down with his legs. How mobile is he in a moment like that? I think we'll obviously know pretty quickly, and from there we can adjust expectations accordingly as to how the rest of the game unfolds. But I don't know. Do you feel like if you're Oklahoma, are you more eager now to face Pribula than you were to face Zollers, or do you feel a little bit more? You feel like you respect Pribula's game a little bit more, even though he's probably not going to be 100%.
I think you respect him more because he's been around college football longer and has seen more. Now, does Matt Zollers probably have a more electric arm? Probably. But you always want to go against the dude, especially if you're Brent Venables and the way he calls defense, who has seen less. That's, to me, the guy you want to go to, because when you're going up against a guy who isn't as experienced, that's when the coaching staff starts to get a little bit more conservative, right? So if you know that, hey, I'm throwing out a quarterback out there who can handle himself, can make some checks, and has seen a lot, that's when that playbook starts to open up. I also thought that because of that, if Matt Zollers was behind center, you can key more on the run. Now, is Pribula some excellent, some top-of-the-line thrower of the football? No, but he's better at it right now than Matt Zollers is. So you're going to have to respect that a little bit more, which makes Missouri just a little bit more dangerous. I still expect Oklahoma to win the football game, but Missouri does give them a better chance to win with Bo Pribula behind center, especially if he is indeed able to move around to keep plays alive and otherwise not get himself murdered back there.
I think maybe the one thing you can say is it sets Missouri up a little bit better in the play-action department.
That too,
because, I mean, whether or not Pribula's running around outside the pocket, making plays with his legs or not, and I would think I would lean in the direction of not. But in the play-action game, you do have to respect Pribula more as a downfield thrower than you do Matt Zollers. And so I think you can pretty well figure what the bread and butter for Missouri tomorrow is going to be. It's been the exact same recipe all year. You're going to get a steady dose of Ahmad Hardy. The Tigers are going to lean on the ground game, and they will make every effort to set things up for Pribula in the play-action game and try to get him some easy pickings downfield and hope Oklahoma is overselling to stop Hardy and stop the Missouri run game. And so, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I feel about this because I really did not expect this at all. I was operating all week under the assumption it was going to be Zollers at quarterback for Missouri, and that was going to be that. But now with Pribula at the helm, I don't know if it changes expectations, but it ought to certainly change your feelings on how this game unfolds tomorrow at Owen Field because Pribula, a very different animal than Matt Zollers, and obviously much more experienced.
On the text line, 405-651-3439, Mark and Blanchard ask, is R. Mason going to play? Sorry if you've already answered it. No, he's not.
No, not going to play, and I'm starting to even already feel skeptical about his chances to play next week against LSU. I've mentioned there's a chance. It doesn't seem like a great one. I would think it's more likely that provided Oklahoma beats Missouri, beats LSU, he's back for what would be the Sooners' first college football playoff matchup the weekend of December 19th. I do not expect him to go tomorrow. I do not expect Gentry Williams to go tomorrow. Okay, folks, keep filling it up on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. One more segment to go as we continue to preview OU Missouri. A legacy prospect and a blue chipper at that, making his way to Norman tomorrow as one of the many distinguished recruiting visitors for this game. We will discuss that recruitment, that situation, and much more on the other side as we wrap up here on a Friday. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
All right, folks, you know the holiday season is rapidly approaching, and the last thing you want is to have issues with your vehicle when you're traveling to go see your friends and family. Bring your vehicle to AMCO and let them perform their free vehicle courtesy check. Their trusted technicians will check your vehicle's systems and help you get back on the road so you can feel safe. Financing available at all locations. AMCO, Norman, Midwest City, Oklahoma City, Edmond, Yukon, and Tulsa.
Entrepreneurs in Moore, Norman, and South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. Moore Norman Technology Center's Workforce and Economic Development Team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, Moore Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about Moore Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
At Oklahoma Electric Cooperative and OEC Fiber, being a local cooperative means more than just doing business. It's about building a community. We're owned and operated by people just like you, ensuring that every voice is heard and every decision strengthens us all. A core principle of cooperatives is concern for community. That means we are located here, right in your backyard, creating jobs, supporting local initiatives, and providing you more individualized, reliable service. OEC and OEC Fiber, that's the power of connection.
Sooner fans, you know a great comeback when you see one. This holiday season, experience the ultimate redemption story with Scrooge the Musical, live at the Sooner Theater in Norman. It's got heart, laughs, and more spirit than an SEC fourth quarter. Watch Ebenezer Scrooge turn his game around and score big for Christmas cheer. Don't get benched. Grab your seats now at SoonerTheater.org. Scrooge the Musical, December 12th through the 21st, the home field advantage for your holiday season.
When it comes to buying a home, you need a winning game plan. At Stride Bank, our mortgage team helps you get from kickoff to closing with competitive rates, local expertise, and personalized service. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, we'll be right there on the field with you. Learn more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
I'm your football-obsessed best man. Physically, I'm right here, but mentally, I'm here. Yeah, I do. Come on, speed it up. When all eyes are on you, my eyes are glued to the game. Whoa! Touchdown, yeah! And if you didn't bundle your home and auto insurance, well, all of this could be tough to tackle. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Call Josh Nelson, Allstate Insurance Agency, 405-360-9500 to be protected from mayhem. Racing season is here at Remington Park. Giddy up and let's go racing. Thursday through Saturday with first post time at 6 p.m. Come feel the fastest fun around. Remington Park has the winning experience for everyone. Their casino is open 24 hours a day, and new members earn up to $50 of free play. Explore the excitement of the Oklahoma City casino scene with top games, dining, and entertainment options available. Remington Park Racing and Casino. Call 405-424-1000 or visit remingtonpark.com.
One final segment here this week on Locked In. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton. OU Missouri coming your way, less than 24 hours away at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium at the illustrious University of Oklahoma. Going to be a fun matchup. Going to be several outstanding recruits in attendance. It's not a super heavy list this weekend, not a star-studded list by any means, the way that, for instance, the Michigan visitor list was early in the season, but several big names making their way to town for this matchup, including, this will be a familiar name for some of the old-timers, four-star wide receiver Trey Moore from Weiss High School down in Texas. Why is this one particularly notable? Because he is the son of former Oklahoma quarterback Eric Moore. And for those of you that were around and lived through and experienced the Howard Schnellenberger year at the University of Oklahoma, my parents were at OU at the time. I know they lived through it. Eric Moore, as a freshman, was Oklahoma's starting quarterback for the majority of that 1995 season, the lone season in which Howard Schnellenberger was the head football coach at the University of Oklahoma. So, you got the legacy dynamic playing into Oklahoma's chances here. On the surface, that would make you feel good. I still think, Grayson, that this recruitment is pretty wide open. Texas is prominently involved, among others, but this is not going to be Trey Moore's first trip to Norman. This will be his first game day visit this season. And so from that standpoint, I do think Oklahoma has the chance to make a really strong impression here because the environment at Owen Field has been better on the whole throughout this season than it has been in any season that I can recall in my time covering OU football. And so with the environment as well as some of the recent staff additions, getting him around the front office personnel, getting him around a guy like Stacey Ford, for instance, this is the type of weekend where Oklahoma could make a real surge with a guy like Trey Moore.
Okay, so where are we in the timeline of Trey Moore's recruitment? Because I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't had time to go through his film all that quite yet. So where are we in terms of contact to where we are now?
He is a 2027 prospect.
Yep.
He has held the Oklahoma offer for, I want to say 8-9 months. They offered him this past winter. I think it was pre-Nagy that he picked up the offer. So he's had the offer a while. This is a consensus blue-chip player, according to the Rivals industry rankings in the class of 2027. He's the number 17 wideout in the country. Sizable kid, 6'2", 185 pounds. Really, really good football player. And comes from a high school down there at Weiss that has quite a penchant for developing outstanding collegiate talent during their high school days. So a lot to like with Trey Moore on tape, a lot to like about the player that he is. Can Oklahoma seal the deal with a legacy recruit? They've done pretty well in this department over the years. I mean, when you have, and obviously not 100% hit rate, and I'm not talking about just the legacy aspect of things, not that specific dynamic, but when you're talking about guys that grew up steeped in the OU football tradition, Oklahoma has had a pretty high hit rate with those guys in the Venables era. Not without exception. Think back to a guy like Nate Roberts, for instance, last year that chose Ohio State over Oklahoma. Cooper Alexander, another Washington high school kid, chose Iowa State over Oklahoma. But on the whole, Oklahoma's been pretty good about making sure the guys that dreamed of wearing the crimson and cream not only get the chance to wear the uniform, but they feel enthusiastic about the love and the opportunity that they receive at OU.
And that's how it should be. You know, take care of the people that have come through the program and at least give the kid an opportunity to say, hey, if you're good enough, we'd love to have you. If you don't want to be here, that's cool. You know, blaze your own trail. But at least give those kids the opportunity, because for a lot of them, I'll tell you, I mean, if my pops had played at the University of Oklahoma, I would have tried my hardest to play at the University of Oklahoma. So at least extend the olive branch sincerely and give them the opportunity if they are good enough. That's what I would say to that. So, and again, you're not going to bat 1,000% with these kids. Some of them want to go off somewhere. Some of them find better fits. But at least be present in the recruitment.
And Oklahoma has been, and Oklahoma will be. When we look at that 2027 class and the skill position talent that Oklahoma has the opportunity to accumulate in that group. They have one wide receiver commit already, right? Damari DeJean, speed guy from the state of California. That's great. You got your burner, if you will. But in addition to that, you would like to be able to pair him with a couple of big boys at the receiver position, guys that are 6'2", 6'3", that not only can stretch the field, but can climb the ladder, go get you a jump ball, bring down a 50-50 ball, or make a 50-50 ball a 60-40 ball, something along those lines. So I think from that standpoint, Trey Moore is a guy that makes a lot of sense given the current composition of Oklahoma's 2027 class. Obviously, he's not the only wide receiver that the Sooners are in decent shape with, and I don't think they lead. I don't want to insinuate that. There's still work to be done in the Trey Moore recruitment, but between him, you know, you got to think about a guy like Zarek Sidney down at Arizona, who we talked about earlier in the week, high school teammate of recent OU cornerback commit, Mikhail Davis. Once you lock in your first couple receivers, whoever they may be, and we know Damari DeJean is going to be one of them, that's where you start to be able to create some pressure on the other guys that are on your board at a position like wide receiver, because you can tell them, hey, look, we only got so many spots. You want to be a Sooner, you want to be a part of this special class in 2027, you better jump on it now.
Absolutely. And that's the position you put yourself in if you're the University of Oklahoma, which at that point, here's the work you've done, Park. You've won the games to put you, I'm not going to say back on the map because you're Oklahoma, you never left, but you get what I'm saying in terms of that top echelon conversation of competitors on the field. You did that. You've established the relationships. Now all you got to do, Parker, is just sit back and see who moves first. If you move first, hey, we'll take you. If you wait and somebody else does, then we might have to see if we got space for you. But it's a really good position to be in if you're OU.
On the text line, 405-651-3439, Brian from Maryland, remembering Eric Moore, says he almost died in Stillwater that year, slamming into one of the close walls. That is the thing about Boone Pickens Stadium. I think the walls there are
Dog.
closer to the field than any other stadium in the country. There is no space down there.
I remember the first time I ever went into that stadium as a freshman back in 2020, and I was like, it was the first thing I saw. I was like, there's 5 feet of space between the wall and the sideline. Like, who designed this?
That's how it is at Boone Pickens Stadium.
Hey,
it's intimate. It's intimate. That's how you spin it. That's realtor speak right there.
Yep.
Intimate setting.
It is. It is a very intimate setting, and it gets loud. For the capacity that's in there, it gets real loud.
Back to OU Missouri talk, a 405 listener on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, identifying himself as all-caps Steve. Is this actually all-caps Steve? Because it's not all-caps Steve's number, but he says, OU 31, Mizzou 17, OUD blows Mizzou up. I do think, Grayson, and obviously I picked Missouri to win the football game because I have to for the sake of Red November, but I genuinely do think this could be a multi-possession victory for Oklahoma if all goes according to plan and we finally start to see that offense make some progress. And
yeah. I don't think there's any progress to be made. Maybe little,
really?
But I don't think they're substantial. Parker, we're 10 games in. We're 10 games in. You are who you are at this point in time, and you're going up against a team who's top 20 against the rush, top 20 against the pass. I know they haven't had all that inspiring of a schedule, but they're still really good, and they put pressure on the quarterback like crazy. Like, I just think this offense is in a mode now where just don't mess it up. Can you sustain 1 or 2 drives and score touchdowns on them and just not mess it up? I just don't think this offense is going to be one that we look at any point in the season and say that's a good offense. I mean, we're 10 games in.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's about cleaning up the little things, right? It's about making small improvements. I don't think all of a sudden the Sooners are going to figure it out and have 450 yards of total offense tomorrow. If that happens, great. It's not something you can count on. To me, what I want to see is if you rewind to Alabama last week, the Sooners had 2 opportunities to punch the ball in, 2 opportunities on which they had 1st and goal inside the Alabama 10-yard line and couldn't finish the possession with a touchdown. They wound up with a pair of chip shot field goals from Tate Sandell. It's just about converting opportunities like those because I think the narrative is a whole heck of a lot different. Ultimately, Oklahoma only ends up with what? At that point, like 225 total yards of offense as opposed to 212 if you convert those 2 drives into touchdowns. But even so, that's 8 extra points on the scoreboard at the end of the day, and that's 3 touchdown drives for your offense as opposed to just 1. So if you can cash in those opportunities, if you can be faithful in executing, in converting those opportunities, more so than you were last week in Tuscaloosa, I don't think Oklahoma's offense has to go for 400 yards of offense tomorrow in order to turn in a performance that the fan base is going to be pleased with and is going to approve of. 3 touchdown drives, if that's what you can muster, that is more than good enough in my mind to win this game by multiple possessions.
Oh, yeah. No, if the OU offense can sustain drives and score 3 touchdowns, they should win this game. 100%. I'm just saying, I don't know if they can. That's literally all I'm saying because look, especially if the defense can get you another touchdown or put you in prime position to score one, it should be good enough to win the football game. I cannot stress this enough. That Oklahoma should win this game, and I expect them and am picking them to win this game. I just don't think it's going to look all that impressive offensively. I think this is a game where we can have a score like 17-13, to be quite frank with you.
Or, as Cherokee Sooner is projecting, I've got OU 21-17 on 7 field goals from Tate Sandell.
Wow.
I haven't done exhaustive research, but I have done extensive research. Based on the research I have done, I do not believe any kicker in FBS history has ever made 8 field goals of 50-plus yards in a single season. There have been several that have made 7. Tate Sandell is obviously 7 for 7 this year from beyond 50 yards. So if at any point he adds an 8th, I do believe at that point he will have done something that has never been done before at the FBS level. If he's not Oklahoma's MVP this season, he's dang well in the conversation. He has been as integral to several Oklahoma wins, including these last two against Tennessee and Alabama, as any player on this roster. All right, folks. It's time to make our final predictions. Grayson, lock them in. Obviously, for the sake of hashtag Red November, I'm taking Missouri 44-10 over Oklahoma tomorrow. What do you got?
I'm going to go Oklahoma 17-13. And, Parker, what I will say is, let's hope the football gods aren't sensing your sarcasm and turn it the other way and take it out on OU. Better be careful, man, but I expect Oklahoma to win this game.
We'll find out tomorrow, folks, and we'll talk about it all on Monday, which is the next time that we will see y'all and talk to y'all here on Locked In. Coming up next, Tyler and Ted take you the rest of the way home on The Rush. 3 more hours of OU sports talk lie ahead. Ted's going to be out at Riverwind Casino. Folks, this is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll see you on the other side of the weekend.